Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's uh, episode of Startup Journey. I have with me uh, an influencer, a person whose story will inspire you. Her name is Dupé Aleru. She is a keynote speaker and she loves to educate people and turn their biggest problems to the greatest gifts of theirs. She is a CEO of Davy Creatives and she's a video creator. She's a business coach, life coach. She has published 5 books and has been a 5-time author. And she has 120,000 followers on TikTok. She definitely is someone who has done something different from most of us. And knowing her story will definitely inspire us to do better in our life. So over to you, Dupé. Please tell us a brief introduction about you.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. As you said, I am a keynote motivational speaker. I'm also a content creator, 5-time, soon to be 6-time published author. I actually just finished my 6th book today, The Rough Draft. So hopefully that is going to be coming out soon. And I'm also a host. So I do a lot of red carpet interviews and hosting as well. And I mean, you said prior to us jumping on this interview, how did I get started? It really started for me inside the classroom. So my background is in education. I taught elementary school for a few years, and each year that I taught, I was laid off. And each year that I was laid off, I was brought back. And so it wasn't after my 4th layoff that I decided to kind of leave classroom teaching and try something different. At that time, I ended up accepting a position as an education reporter for the Beverly Hills Courier newspaper, and did education news, built the education section from the ground up. And after that year, I was laid off again due to budget cuts. So this is back in 2008, actually 2006 through 2010, when the economy was kind of crashing and there's a lot of layoffs in the education section and businesses were really making cuts. And unfortunately, I experienced cut after cut after cut. And it was that 5th year of being laid off that I said, I'm done. I am going to start my own company. I'm tired of putting my faith into other people's hands. Let me see what I can do on my own. And that was really the start of me building a business.
So that's a very courageous move to take a decision that, hey, now I want to do something of my own. Most people don't have that. Where did that courage come from? Was it just that layoff after layoff? Or because even if people think they want to do their own, they have this uncertainty of whether they will be able to just make what they make in a job at least. And there's uncertainty when that will start.
Right.
So how did you went through that mindset?
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely had a resilient mindset at the time. I was a lot younger. And I have to say, the idea for my first business was actually an idea of my last year teaching those students' parents. They felt bad that I was losing my job. So they suggested that I tutor their kids during the summer to make extra income. And through doing that is when my tutoring company was born. So my first company was Tutors for Tots, Tweens and Teens. And we did in-home and on-site tutoring K-12. That first few months, I had a little bit of savings and I invested. It didn't take that much to go get a business license. I mean, I started tutoring kids inside my home. It wasn't like a glamorous type of business, right? And at the time, what I was doing to fund, like you said, when you first start a business, it takes time to generate revenue, right? Especially if you don't crowdfund or have investors. So what I was doing was I ended up being a substitute teacher. I was still working for the school district, making sure that I, can pay the bills and everything. And the days that I wasn't working, I was tutoring and trying to build my business.
Oh, that must be very hectic or a lot of hustle during that time to make your.
You cut out, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm saying that must be a lot of hustle during that time just to make yourself visible to your prospective customer.
Yeah, and what I did after a few years, I mean, when I was substitute teaching, obviously like every teacher that I would sub for their classroom, I would leave them my business card. And every school that I would go to, I would leave the receptionist my business card that I have a tutoring company too, if any students at the school need students. So I was getting a lot of referrals that way. But what really happened was finally in 2000, like 2 years after the start of my company, someone told me to read Rich Dad Poor Dad and Think and Grow Rich. And those two books changed my life because my mindset was still very small at that time. I was thinking, sure, I can make ends meet, just have a few clients and just run this thing in my home. And after reading those two books, I mean, literally, probably days after closing the book of Think and Grow Rich, I went out searching for a brick and mortar location, commercial office space, and I found one within a week. And it was all because of that book and me stretching myself and understanding that I can create more. It's all in the mindset. So once I had my brick and mortar location, then I was able to scale my business. And, I had a successful business for about 12, I would say it was like 11 going on the 12th year before I decided to close it down in 2019.
Do you want to go back to your job?
Absolutely not. I love what I'm doing now. Now, I left that because though I did a lot, I created curriculums for school districts. We ran programs. I was touring around schools and speaking. I realized during that time that my true purpose was to educate the masses. I wasn't educating. I now had a team of 20 plus tutors contracted with school districts. I was the mastermind behind all the curriculums and the courses, but I was behind the scene, right? I was literally doing interviews and paperwork and boring stuff. And it clicked one day when I went to a training that, I wasn't born to be a CEO. I was born to be a creative. And I just always had that creative mind, and to educate and empower and inspire. So during that time, I was slowly building an online brand. I found the app Periscope and I started to live stream on that app, and I grew an audience on there. And that's when I got the itch to go in and do it full time.
Okay. So another question, were you always an extrovert?
Was I always an extrovert? Is that what you said?
Extrovert?
Yeah, I feel like I'm both in a way. It's weird. Like people usually don't think that I'm shy, but I can be, And I'm an introvert in a way that like I like to be alone. Like I'm just kind of like a nerd. I'm okay I'm very independent and I can just zone out and just do my own thing, right? But obviously, like when I get into my comfort zone, I feel comfortable speaking and teaching and educating, and just connecting with people. So I feel like I'm in the middle sometimes. More extrovert though, for sure.
Yeah, so there are many people who are basically introvert and hesitant to go out and reach out to people and even introduce themselves. So I think that they need to push their boundaries in order to just be visible. And
Yeah, for sure.
if they're starting out, they need to dump this introvert.
No, I totally agree with that. And I definitely have grown over the years to be more of an extrovert because I pushed myself out of my comfort zone. But I have to say, I wasn't always comfortable speaking in front of like thousands of people, But I had to grow in that mental strength to say, you know what, I have a voice, I have wisdom, and I have something that other people need to know in order to fulfill their purpose. And so I'm not going to hold back from sharing that because of like fear or, self-doubt and so on and so on. So I was able to break those barriers, and then, here I am now.
I saw a couple of your videos on your YouTube channel, and you were talking to like a couple of hundred people, and that needs a lot of courage and confidence to just stand up and express yourself.
Yeah, like I think like obviously having my background in education definitely helps. I would be lying if I didn't say being a teacher helps, because when you're a teacher, you have to talk in front of, parents and staff meetings and parent-teacher conferences, and obviously in front of your students. So it started there, and then I definitely think live streaming, just being in front of the camera and going live on social media definitely helped. And I know it's a big difference, being in your home and being in the camera than being on stage, but it still was a starting point to building up that courage for sure.
Sure. So, Dubey, what advice do you have for someone who, in this day and age of social media, uh, wants to make a mark of his or her own, and they don't know where to start?
Yeah, I mean, everybody has their own God-given gifts and talents, and I think it's important to understand what those are. I, I don't. How do I like word this? I think it's important that you understand that, and in understanding that, then you can figure out how you can be of service to the world, right? And so, not everybody's, you know, gift is going to be to build a brand online or to be in the forefront. I know so many people who want to be more behind the scenes. And so I never like encourage people to be out there because not everybody is comfortable with that, right? And just like we see on social media, some people are comfortable doing videos. Some people like to do audio content. Others like to do written word content. And so just find what it is. I think the focal point is understand what you're great at first. And once you get clarity on that, ask yourself, like, what are the next steps? Like, what do I want to accomplish? Like, what are my goals within that? And then there's going to be sacrifices that needs to be had, and then an action plan in order to achieve that. And if that means getting on social media and creating content, then great. But the first step is to figure out what you're great at, understanding who your target audience is. So what need that you can come in and fulfill, right? So there has to be like a big enough need. And I like to tell people the question that you can ask yourself is, what do I know that other people need to know and are willing to pay a price to learn it? Once you understand that, and then the way you want to deliver your content through a medium, then just get started.
Yeah, identifying that is the challenge for most of us, where we don't know what people will be willing to pay
Yeah.
for something. So maybe first building an online presence, making yourself visible to the world, and then sell them what you have, and they want to pay for it.
Exactly. And so you're right. You have to build an online, you have to start somewhere. And that's why it's important to get clarity on what are your special gifts and talents. The way you figure that out is you can ask yourself, what is something that people always point out and say that I am? Maybe they say, you're actually a great speaker, or you're a great illustrator, or whatever it is. You're really great with people, then you can start to say, well, people always say that I'm this, so maybe I can go into this field. Once you pinpoint that, like you said, just get started in what you feel that is comfortable for you, and people will gravitate towards you. And trust me, on social media, people will tell you what they want. And what I used to do was I would take notes of the comments. People would DM me and ask me questions. I would go on my phone and take notes of some of those comments and questions. And then those questions or comments became video topics, or they became online courses, or they became downloadable content for my membership site. So a lot of times your audience is giving you the content to create for them.
Yeah, that is very useful suggestion. Also, Dupit, how do you handle negativity on social media, or when people around you are just pulling you down? Like, because
Mhm.
very, very rarely people do make a mark of themselves, but there are so many people who just pull you down. So how do you handle that, either online or in person?
You know what? That's a good question. I've been blessed to not have to run into that many like bullies and negativity in my years of being online. And that's probably because I don't have as big audience as some of these people. Once you get into the millions and millions and millions, then you get like a lot of like hate. But I honestly feel like, I don't know if it's something that I exude, but I'm very mentally strong. So there's really nothing anybody can say that would really move me. And because I preach this in my videos and to my audience all the time, that I say that hurt people hurt people. And so when I get bullies or trolls or people in my comments, my reaction all the time is, I'm sorry, I will pray for you. I mean, what else can you say? It doesn't move me. And I've learned to think in a way that they're hurting, you know, because a happy person will never try to bring someone else down. And so if you can understand that, you will not have to react to every single comment. You can just look at it and be like, man, let me just pray for them or reach out. And I can't even count how many times I've done that and people DM'd me and said, thank you, you just gained a new follower. Sometimes people just want attention. They just want to know that someone cares. They're looking to see if you will respond in a certain type of way. And so you never know if your kindness can turn a troll into an actual supporter.
Yeah. I mean, trolls will always be there. You just have to focus on what you are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about your company and who are your customers and how can people reach out?
Yeah, sure. I have a company, Davi Creative, and we are a creative agency. We pretty much like create, produce, and distribute online content. And we work with brands and business professionals to edit their online videos. So we do a lot of speaker reels. We do a lot of like social media videos and then brand videos, like promo videos. Within that though, we have a membership site. So we're focused on building a lot of resources. We have well over 100 resources on our membership site where business professionals and creators who are looking to build a brand, it is a place where they can go and they can take online courses. We have classes, audio trainings, as well as downloadable resources and templates.
Great. So I think that was a very good information for anyone who wants to start off their startup journey. You will definitely inspire someone in the world to take their ideas forward and just express themselves and make a mark for themselves. I will be putting out all the links in the comments, in the description section of the video.
Okay.
And thank you very much for participating.
Yeah, thank you so much. And like I said, if anyone
feel free to.
I'm sorry, you're cutting out.
So I was just saying that feel free to reach out to Dupé for anything you want, and maybe for your organization or in person or anything that she can help you out with. And please like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You guys can always email me at dupéaleru@dupéaleru.com. My website's dupéaleru.com, and then my membership site is Davi members.com. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. Thank you, Dupé. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for watching this.